Dheeraj was previously the founder and CEO of Nutanix, a company he took public, and now the founder and CEO of another unicorn, DevRev. Two unicorns, one visionary founder. Every founder wants an AI-first company today, right? Because that's where the hype is.
Well, AI is the new cloud. It's basically the more intelligent computer.
I see 6 companies that have changed the whole evolution of technology. IBM brought in enterprise-grade technology adoption. HP made that distributed through the PC end-user client sort of revolution. Microsoft enabled software across the enterprise. Google actually enabled the internet and search. Apple put the digital economy on our palms. Yeah? And then now you have OpenAI, which is democratizing AI. AWS, to me, changed the face of the market landscape.
IBM really commercialized forward deployed engineering. HP, I thought they're more a distribution company. AWS is the way they democratize infrastructure. I mean, I'm a big fan of AWS. I look at Adobe, a great design-centric company.
Maybe there's a 12th that's going to change the way customer experience will evolve. Today, we're joined by Dheeraj Pandey. Dheeraj was previously the founder and CEO of Nutanix, a company he took public, and now the founder and CEO of another unicorn, DevRev. So, 2 unicorns, one visionary founder. I think there's a lot to unpack and learnings I think that entrepreneurs will benefit from your journey. So welcome, Dheeraj.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure, man.
Dheeraj has led the cloud infrastructure wave in the early days of public cloud. You've led the AI generation, the AI acceleration era, I'd rather say, with what you're building now. And every founder wants an AI-first company today, right? Because that's where the hype is. Do you have any advice when founders should not be building an AI company?
Well, AI is the new cloud. It's basically the more intelligent computer. So I wouldn't say they should not use a more intelligent computer. Why has the computer become more intelligent? For one, it is saying, don't try to invent a new language for me. I will learn your language, which is empathy.
Yeah.
It's deeply empathetic to say, look, why have you guys struggled in the last 50, 60 years to build languages which are inching towards becoming more and more and more English-like when it can be pure English? The second thing is it's saying, look, give me subjective work. I can do pattern matching and correlations and anomalies and all these things. In my sleep, if you give me enough data, I can go do that. I don't think there is any new company which is not going to use a more intelligent computer because everybody's looking for one too. I don't think the end users are saying, I don't need AI. If anything, they're like, hey, I need to shine in my career, my job. I need to do work-life balance better. I need my nights and weekends back. So they're all trying to be more productive and more creative, and companies are trying to be more efficient. And again, going back to the industrial revolution, I think we are digging out a lot of energy from under the ground now in the form of rare earth and GPUs and all that stuff. And we're saying, do we need to expend so much of human energy when we can avoid it by taking things out of under the earth and really use that energy better? And I think it absolutely will have implications. So I don't think there's any founder who should think of saying, hey, I'll not use the more intelligent computer.
As a long-term analyst, I've been a technology market analyst for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And for the first time, I see 2 things happening. Decision-making truly now is at the C-suite level. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And often at the CEO's level as far as tech is concerned, especially if you're looking at transformation work. Mm-hmm. Second, there is a gap in our view that in terms of AI fluency for C-suite leaders, because decision-making is getting stalled in certain instances for companies to invest in tech, just because there's so many options. Like, who do they do it with? How much do they invest? What use cases should they be prioritizing? What should they move from POC to production? And it's really critical also to ensure a sort of robust but secure AI roadmap. Do you see AI fluency playing a huge role in enabling the adoption of AI in the most effective manner for organizations?
Yeah, so if I were to take a step back, what's the thing that is really revolutionary? And I said this about the intelligent computer. So it's been 40 years and we've continued to use those abstractions of point, click, and scroll rather than what does it mean to miniaturize and keep business software in the pocket of users. OpenAI's biggest innovation was not just the API call that you could make to really make AI lightweight and use it, unlike IBM Watson, that was now you got to invest $10 million to really unleash AI. But also the fact that they built a mobile app that was beautiful. I mean, there was a design in this company. Now, it took 7 years to get there from 2015 to 2022, but they were at it and at it and at it. No different than the fact that AI networking struggled for 30 years until the browser came about, the Mosaic browser came about and so on. So I feel like there's a big design component to this, which is about really putting it in the pocket of people's, day-to-day employees and customers. I feel the new thing that is happening with man-machine interface is really search, answer, and reason. We're basically expecting the computer to provide these three interfaces. An awesome search interface, a great interface for answering questions, which is better than search, not just keyword search, but also give me away how things are related and summarize things for me. But finally reason it for me, like what should I prioritize, and things of that nature, which are long chain of thought sessions, not just something I need in like the next 30 seconds. An answer doesn't come in the next 30 seconds, but it could take 10 hours of research. But not just research, there's back and forth that's going on as well. So search, answer, and reason is the level of fluency that we actually need for C-level people to really understand. The idea of AI agents is to really compete with human agency. So reasoning will take a while. I mean, I think DeepSeek has shown a glimpse of what reasoning means, but there's probably a multi-decade. And plus, every industry vertical will have its own ways to reason and things like that. But search and answers absolutely crawl and walk in this. How do you really start with search? And not just for your employees, but also for your customers. And how do you answer and have calls to action that don't have a human in the loop? I think that's the level of fluency that and clarity that C-level people need. I also feel like for the last 40 years, C-level people never logged on to any SaaS software or business software. They thought it was for practitioners. For the first time, if we make natural language work, and if there's a ChatGPT-like experience for the C-level people to use business software, which is conversational, no training required, ask anything in a psychologically safe search bar-like experience on their desktop or their mobile app, I think that for the first time in the history of tech, executives or buyers and C-level people can be at the same level playing field on data and insights and asking real-time questions as practitioners have been for the last 40, 50 years. So it's a really, really interesting time to be an executive, but to also say, look, I'd love to ask questions without being trained on graphical UI and having to really know what onboarding on an app means. Because as I said, the last 30, 40 years, they never onboarded on any app. They were flying high when a lot of practitioners are actually, trying to really figure out how to make things work.
Absolutely. You do realize that, Dheeraj, if I had an AI avatar of myself asking you these questions, it'd probably have a lot more insight into your background to ask you more relevant questions. I absolutely agree. I think that power is just brings so many possibilities. But just quickly, as I wrap up the discussion on the market and what you see with your customers, 2 sectors that you see over the next 5 to 10 years will be the most disrupted by digital natives.
I think we're already beginning to see that with banks and financial services.
Yeah.
Retail, we've talked a lot about in the last 20 years. Obviously, there's a lot that people have done in terms of digitizing retail as well. I feel like this idea of Airbnb versus having asset heavy companies is actually a big one, because now we're talking about social commerce and really crowdsourcing real estate and things like that is big. So travel and hospitality is another area that I feel like is just beginning to be disrupted. What hotels were in the past and what hotels will be in the future, a long ways to go. Even ownership, I would say that, the idea of ownership versus being able to, having a sharing economy is just beginning to actually unleash itself. So we have not seen enough of sharing. We'll probably see a lot of sharing in the next 10, 15, 20 years. I feel like within a company, functions like customer service will be redefined. I think what we expect from our personal lives with ChatGPT, we'll try to expect the exact same things from our professional lives as well. And that would be a big, I would say, revolution that actually is waiting to happen.
I see 6 companies that have changed the whole evolution of technology. And IBM brought in enterprise-grade technology adoption. Yeah, HP made that distributed through the PC, end-user client sort of revolution. Microsoft enabled software across the enterprise. Google actually enabled the internet and search. Apple brought, and often people look at Apple, and I'm a huge Apple fan, and I think you referenced Steve Jobs, and I think there is people look at his products and they say they love the design and the ease of use, but often what people don't realize, and I think you touched on it, is it actually put the digital economy on our palms. Yeah, and then now you have OpenAI, which is democratizing AI. I think in the modern era of where we are today, I think AWS to me changed the face of the market landscape. In 2010 onwards, the whole move of large, the top 10 tech companies owning most of the market was disrupted because AWS enabled these emerging tech companies. Do you see other companies that have had that massive bearing, or do you sort of agree with this list of companies and the impact that they've had across the different eras?
Yeah, I would actually put Intel in this.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
And of course, NVIDIA now in the last 15 years. But if I were to go back to 80s and 90s, I thought that IBM's big they were probably good with mainframes back in 70s, 80s. They were good at acquisitions. They realized that to really democratize computing, you need people and you need services. And that's the gap they filled. They were the Palantir before the Palantir. If you think of what Palantir did with forward deployed engineering, IBM really commercialized forward deployed engineering with services, with Lou Gerstner and so on. HP, I thought in the 60s, 70s, they were an engineering company. But by the 80s, 90s, they had lost their way. And they're more a distribution company. In fact, once they bought Compaq, it was not even a well-run company.
Yeah, let's make it a list of 10. And with DevRev wrapping up.
I think Microsoft 10. Is a big one. A big one.
Of course.
I would put Microsoft in there for sure. AWS, I think, AWS is the way they democratize infrastructure. I mean, I'm a big fan of AWS.
So that does make a list of 10, hopefully.
Well, I'm biased on Adobe and companies of that era as well. The 1980s had Adobe, Oracle. I was actually a big fan of Oracle. Still continue to be a big fan of Oracle.
So to wrap up the list, IBM, HPE, Microsoft, Apple, Google, AWS, OpenAI,
Intel.
Oracle, Intel,
NVIDIA.
Oh.
And Adobe, I think.
And Adobe, yes.
I look at Adobe especially because I sit on the board there, but I'm just biased towards a great design-centric company that we all need to actually appreciate.
So, and the 12th, maybe there's a 12th that's going to change the way customer experience will evolve.
Well, we want to be an AI company that builds agents which are beautifully designed for our customers, but also be a great agent platform. Like what many companies like Salesforce did in terms of arbitraging Oracle, arbitraging Java, arbitraging data centers with CRM-like thinking. I think OpenAI can be arbitraged with a really good layer of middleware that makes people say, "Well, this is a beautiful way to build agents in the future."
Yeah. I think we need to expand this list. I feel like we're being unfair.
Yeah.
But Dheeraj, it's been absolutely lovely. I think you have encapsulated so many different elements of what I wanted to bring out. I've not seen, the simplified articulation of the power of AI, how you've evolved your journey. And I wish you the best.